Welcome to 5 Minute Chapters, the podcast where we summarize important writings on education and learning. I'm your host, Daniel Bowe, and in today's episode, we'll be discussing how to implement the techniques from Chapter 19, How to Assess for Student Learning, taken from Harry Wong's Implementation Guide for the First Days of School. Assessing student learning is a crucial part of teaching, and in this chapter, Wong emphasizes that assessment is not something teachers do to students, but rather for them. So let's dive into the key ideas, important facts, and practical strategies outlined in this chapter. First, let's take a high-level overview of the techniques presented in Chapter 19. Wong highlights the importance of timely and constructive feedback, the power of providing students with clear lesson objectives, and the use of rubrics or scoring guides as effective tools for assessment. These techniques not only help students improve their learning, but also provide valuable feedback to teachers to enhance their instruction. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of implementing these techniques in your classroom. Step 1, constructing rubrics or scoring guides aligned to lesson objectives. Rubrics are feedback tools that outline the steps students need to take to achieve mastery. They consist of 3 parts: criteria, the category or trait being assessed; point values, common numerical range of performance levels; and performance expected, definitions and examples of each level with point values. Step 2, using rubrics for formative assessment and feedback, not just for evaluation. Give students the rubric before they begin an assignment so they have a clear understanding of the expectations. This approach increases student achievement, as Wong points out that giving students lesson objectives prior to instruction can raise achievement by as much as 27%. Step 3, teach students how to use rubrics for self-assessment. By involving students in the assessment process, they become more aware of their strengths and areas for improvement. Rubrics empower them to revise their work and make progress towards lesson mastery. Step 4, utilize the information from rubrics to provide students with targeted feedback. Feedback that specifically assesses how well a student's work aligns with the lesson objectives can significantly increase their learning. Wong mentions that giving students specific feedback about their progress can raise achievement by as much as 37%. Now that we have an understanding of the techniques, let's explore how to implement them effectively in your classroom. Begin by brainstorming the different types of assignments or activities for which you could create a scoring guide template. Think about laboratory reports, graphing exercises, group discussions, or presentations to the class. Select one type of assignment and collaborate with your grade team or department to create a common rubric. It's often easier to adapt existing rubrics to your needs, so explore ready-made rubrics online or refer to the examples provided by Wong in the guide. When designing the rubric, agree upon the performance levels and their descriptions. To ensure consistency, ask teachers to bring samples of student work representing different levels of achievement. This exercise will help establish a group consensus on the quality of work at each level and improve assessing across your school or grade team. Once the rubric is in place, it's time for implementation. Introduce the rubric to your students, explaining its benefits and how it will be used to help them improve their learning. Consider sharing sample student work at each performance level as models. This visual representation will help students understand the expectations and encourage them to strive for higher levels of achievement. Throughout the implementation process, gather feedback from students and colleagues. Reflect on the language and accessibility of the rubric, its effectiveness in guiding student learning, and how it can be further improved. Remember, this is an iterative process, and adjustments may be necessary based on the feedback received. And there you have it, a summary of the techniques presented in Chapter 18 of Harry Wong's Implementation Guide for the First Days of School. Implementing these strategies, such as constructing rubrics, providing timely feedback, and involving students in self-assessment, can have a significant impact on student learning and achievement. Thank you for tuning in to 5-Minute Chapters. Join us next time for the next chapter in Harry Wong's book. I'm your host, Daniel Bowe. Remember, even teachers need Cliff's Notes sometimes. Until next time.